Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of Matt and Rob Talk About F1. I'm Rob, and with me today we have...
Bonjour, je suis Mathieu. I'm Matt, you know. This
Amazing.
week it's full on French, you know.
Full on French. And we're going to put some graphics in there, you know, the most classic French things I can think of. A baguette, red wine, and maybe the Eiffel Tower just behind you.
Of course, yeah.
Put in some music. Nice. Yeah, Matt, you're looking good. You're looking
man,
happy.
I had to put it on, man. That's the have to represent, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It's once
Very
every
nice,
24 years, so you know you gotta do something when it happens.
It's a strong schedule. Every 24 years. Wow. Of course, we're going to talk about the Formula One race that was this weekend, and the reason why Matt looks like this. He doesn't just paint his face every now and then. I mean, I have seen it, but not this time around. But we should probably talk about the qualifying first.
Yeah, let's start in the order, and then we'll get
exactly
to the
start in the order
part.
of the events. Exactly. Yeah. So this weekend we were at Monza, in Italy, Ferrari's home Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Which was great for the team in red. Just lovely. They love being back there. They really know the track. Their car is like set up to perfection.
They were waiting for this race this season to perform. It was just
absolutely, yeah. You could tell they were holding something back.
Yeah.
And oh boy, did they not disappoint. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, we actually had predictions for that. Because we're talking about Ferrari first of all. Let's talk about the Ferrari predictions. Mine were 14th and 16th for Leclerc and Vettel.
That was really close, though.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
Really
no,
close.
It wasn't bad. Yeah. And yours were Vettel 16th and Leclerc 17th.
I had like a position, right? 17th for someone was there, but it was not Leclerc, so yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, Vettel actually got 17th,
Yes.
and Leclerc got
13th. Yeah. Tough
Wow.
weekend.
Very
Tough start
weekend.
of the weekend. Let's say.
Yeah, very tough
At
start.
least
for the
Leclerc
team.
got out of Q1. You know, that's something.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
least
yeah,
something.
like because it was kind of ridiculous. What did you think to the whole? So at the end of most qualifying sessions, all cars sort of go out almost simultaneously, right? Like they're trying to go out at the same time, mainly because there's more rubber sort of on the circuit, which makes the circuit a bit quicker, gives you more grip, and sometimes the circuit evolves in other ways where temperature might change and things like that. So they wait till the end, and Monza was no difference.
The difference in Monza is that the slipstream is insane. So it's always a little game to like who is going to be in front and who is going to be just behind. And I mean, in F3 and F2 it was a crazy mess the whole weekend. So it was better than last year. Last year was a complete disaster. At least it didn't end up being like last year, but
But yeah, it's still like, I mean. Did you see the onboard of Kimi Räikkönen, who's like, I think he was stuck behind Ocon?
Yeah.
Just absolutely crazy. So he was so close behind him that he could actually overtake him. And if you just showed that to someone, it looks like a race sort of scenario, because Kimi Räikkönen is trying to overtake Ocon and Ocon is defending. They really just try to put a time down for qualifying, which is absolutely
it was
crazy.
I mean, even in FP3 when Hamilton had to avoid like two cars and go in the like two wheels on the grass, that was so dangerous and like so close to disaster. And everyone was like, "Oh, qualifying is going to be a mess."
Yeah,
it was. They did average, I'd say. They avoided the disaster, but it was still not a good-looking qualifying.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought it was really weird to see. I mean, I think the person that was most outspoken about the whole mess was, I mean, Vettel on the radio was like, what a mess. Like, this is crazy. He didn't even finish the lap, like his last lap. He just went straight into the pits because he knew he was stuck. I don't know who he was stuck behind, but there's too many cars going, trying to do the same thing. And George Russell actually from Williams was like super outspoken. It was like, we are always, pretty much last anyway. the one thing we can do is trying to like avoid to be in these kind of messy
Yeah,
situations.
yeah, that's true. I
But they
heard
were
that,
like, they were like right there.
yeah,
They were like
yeah.
in
It
the
was
thick
not
of it.
great. Yeah, I think and there was an F2 and F3 driver saying like they should do the same thing as Indy and have like a car at a time, like a special qualifying for Monza or like these kind of trucks, and have like a car at a time, so no slipstream, and just like one car at a time, and you have one lap to go and do your time. So it's avoids the mess, maybe a bit more interesting to see. Maybe it's a bit of pressure on the driver to have like one lap. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. And then like I guess it depends on who goes first, or like you sort of.
Yeah, that's true too. I guess
Because you could run into scenarios, and we have seen that in the past, where if the rain kicks in, and you hadn't been able to put a time down, suddenly similar to Vettel, like you're just out in Q1.
That is true also. Yeah. So it's a tricky thing to do, but I mean, it was okay. I guess some people took advantage of it. Some other teams didn't, but it was everyone managed to put a time in. So that's at least something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's true. And like Ferrari, I don't know. Like seeing where Leclerc ended up in the end anyway, in P13th, just there wasn't that much more in the car. I think that Vettel could have gotten out of it. I think he probably would have maybe managed like a P14th, like instead of Kimi Räikkönen. But really, yeah. I mean,
even the top 3 was surprising. We didn't talk about the top 3 yet, but it was.
Exactly. Yeah, we haven't gotten to
surprising.
that yet. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What did you make of the? The Mercedes
for predictions, you had Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo, and I had Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo. So we had a runner out there. We had Ricciardo on the top 3.
We both had a Renault, yeah.
Which somehow, I don't understand Renault. It's insane. It's like they're dominating Spa, and it's like such a fast car, and no one can catch it on the straight line. And then they get to Monza, the temple of speed, and they're nowhere.
Yeah, it's almost like they forgot that they can go fast. Like what
Ocon ended up 12th, and Ricciardo 7th, and it was nothing close to being like in the top 3. And somehow like McLaren came by and had a crushing pace, like almost as fast as Mercedes. They could keep up with the Mercedes, which was insane. And Sainz ended up in the top 3, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to see.
And Paris just behind, coming back.
So Sainz and Paris, like the Racing Point, actually, sort of living up to what we were hoping it would do the whole season, was to like challenge Mercedes and really be last year's Mercedes. So behind them, but like
So the McLaren was really even better than last year Mercedes, actually. So.
Yeah, that's true. So it's so interesting to me. Like this weekend was incredible, obviously because of the race as well, but also the qualifying. Just things like Verstappen P5, like what happened? And like what happened to Red Bull? And Albon was P9, I think.
Albon was P9 again. Yeah, just
in front of Gasly, like.
Yeah, and AlphaTauri was still like 10th and 11th, in front of the second Renault, which was again like a solid result for them too. So
yeah. I mean, Gasly obviously, of course, as well, and Kvyat the same. Like they had really strong qualifying performances, and like Gasly, this year as well, like been just really solid, really good performance.
Yep.
And yeah, it got even better for him. But shall we just cut the qualifying short, because I don't know how much more there's to say about.
Let's just go to the race, man.
Let's just go to the.
That's where
the amazing race.
Yes, the best race of a long time. I can't even
remember. What a race!
I don't know, man. Insane.
After last week, it was almost boring.
Oh yeah,
it kind of was. Like the first couple of laps were interesting, but then it was like, nah, okay, all right, okay, fine. This weekend was nothing like it. This Sunday was amazing.
I can't remember the last time I was that excited at the end of a Grand Prix. I mean, I just can't. So
just the amount of like stuff that sort of happened. Like, shall we? I don't know. Shall I walk us through?
How do we do it? Should we do the predictions, or should we keep the predictions?
Oh, the predictions. We're like usually very, very good with predictions. If you're a regular viewer or listener, of course, experts. But even we couldn't predict the race like this. So
and we agreed on the prediction. We had the same prediction.
We did actually agree. So we both said Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo for 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then Ferrari predictions, we'll just get them out of the way, I guess. We knew the boys in red weren't going to be fast.
Yes.
I had 17th and 18th for Leclerc and Vettel. And you had
It's
Leclerc
15th,
15th and
it's,
Vettel 16th.
Yeah, I mean, just ended up being. We can say it. I mean, they didn't even finish. So we got.
Yeah,
We'll be back on how they didn't finish and what happened.
Exactly.
To them,
To a double DNF at the home Grand Prix for Ferrari. It's just the worst you could have imagined. I think it's just
But I mean, shall we
Terrible.
say and reveal the top three? I mean, everyone pretty much knows it, but I mean,
you
the
probably
top
know it
the
already.
top one is pretty much that's what happened right here.
Oh my god! It's amazing.
That's
That's
what
so
happened,
cool.
you know?
Oh, that's really cool.
So Gasly, Pierre Gasly, just
Pierre Gasly.
magical Gasly. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. Just that's just amazing. 24 years we've been waiting, the French people, and he came and gave this victory to us. So no words. Just thank you. Just I don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been this long because
Literally the year was born, man. The year was born. That's the last time we won the Grand Prix. That's amazing.
That is crazy. And there's always been really good French racing drivers, as far as I can remember in F1 most of the seasons. But I can't believe it's been this long, and since you had your last win.
Yes, that's just we had hopes in the early 2000s with Grosjean, but it never happened. And now we have a really good bunch of drivers, and Gasly who would have bet that Gasly was the first one to win? I don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's absolutely crazy.
And then I mean Sainz was second, which again very amazing race for him, and McLaren
very good
and then
race for
Stroll
Sainz,
third.
Stroll third.
Solid race for them too. And I mean Norris was fourth, just to mention, because it was a solid race for him. So
really good. And then Bottas was fifth. Probably the most disappointing race. Let's go through it chronologically. I've got some things written down. I don't know if you've got written down.
Let's do that.
Before we sort of talk about every individual driver anyway.
Yeah.
So from the start, I thought the start was for Hamilton it was great.
Yeah. I mean, there was a few drivers that had a great start and some completely had a very bad start. So it was an entertaining start, let's say. So stuff happened straight away.
Really entertaining. Everyone kept it clean as far as I'm aware, I think.
Turn one was super clean. There was no contact. There was one contact with Albon and Gasly. That's the only contact.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. I think Albon lost a good amount of his floor, right? Is that right?
There was some damage there for sure, I think.
Yeah. Probably kind of explains a little bit his performance, which was not great. But yeah, Bottas actually had one of the worst starts as well.
Oh yeah, it was a terrible start for him. It's just nowhere. And he was, again, like the thing we were talking last week about not being aggressive enough, about not wanting it that bad, And he was not Lewis. He was not against Lewis. He was against youngsters and people that don't belong in the top three. He got past, Sainz got past him so easily. And then Norris just put the shoulders out and the elbows out, and it was just like, I'm going to you, man. And first chicane, okay, I'll wait. And then second chicane, he was over. He was literally over. And Bottas couldn't do nothing. And then the next corner, Perez got past. And the next chicane, Ricciardo got past. Disaster start. But
it was just so bad for him. I don't. And I think he went on the radio as well to say there's an issue or there's something wrong, but. There just wasn't. His car was fine.
No, it's fine. I have a puncture. No, you don't.
No. The tires are still all there. You can keep driving it. But yeah, he must have just been out of the rhythm, or it must have shocked him so hard that he just had a couple of really bad laps. That just. Or he didn't
the moves on him were really good. I mean, Norris' moves was really good. Ricciardo was amazing.
Really good to see. And it gave us immediately an amazing start to the race. It was just bam, from the get-go, really cool action, really cool overtakes, and cars that we haven't seen at the top, that much this season. And drivers, that usually aren't sort of that high up, which was really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
Verstappen also struggled quite a bit at the beginning, not quite as much as Bottas, but he sort of didn't have that overall a really good race. Anyway.
Yeah, I think Albon also had a bad start, which then he was behind Gasly, and then he tried to come back to his initial position on the outside, and that's where they caught wheels. But he actually was passed already by Gasly before the first chicane, so it was already a bad start for him. So not good. And even Verstappen was average, and Bottas, even Verstappen, they couldn't do anything. It's when he got past, they couldn't do anything. So super interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see that Bottas couldn't really overtake or even follow cars that closely, and his car was overheating. Like at the beginning, immediately you could see him pulling out of the slipstream, which you kind of need to get that advantage, to overtake someone, and he needs to pull out of it because his car was getting too hot.
Yeah.
Which I guess is showing that Mercedes isn't used to. Having to like fight behind or drive behind cars that much.
And that's why it's a shame too, because it's like they developed the car in other ways than anyone else really on the grid. It's like the cars is really like completely different. It's not made to race the same way as other cars are. It's like it's not made to race really. It's just made to do fast laps, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I wonder if they're going to change anything on their setups or whether they. I mean, it was kind of a weird race anyway. Let's just go.
Let's go. Yeah, for sure.
Keep going with the sort of laps. I've written like down the laps as far as I'm, hopefully I've done them right. Lap 6 was when it went from bad to worse for Vettel.
I mean, that was very kind of a scary thing. I was like, I thought that normally you have to turn. If you miss the first chicane, you just slalom your way around the little.
That was crazy.
Advertising foam, whatever, and then it was just straight through it. I was like, okay, that's.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure because I don't think he tried to turn either. Obviously,
he had no brakes, so it was like.
His brake failed, which is terrible. Like terrible in any car.
I mean, but at the end of the straight at Monza, it's like the worst.
Right,
place.
Exactly. So it's just crazy. I still haven't really seen what happened. I think they had an issue because it's a 2-part braking system as far as I'm aware. You have your motor that can brake, which then sort of recuperates some of the energy into electrical energy that's stored in your battery. So that's part of the braking system, as well as your sort of normal brake calipers at the back. And as far as I'm aware, if the sort of the electrical system fails, the brakes at the back really aren't big enough.
I mean, there's brakes on the front too. There's brakes on the 4 wheels, right?
Oh yeah, of course. But like, so he had. But I think he had an issue on the rear.
Yeah, the rear was on fire. Yeah,
or was on fire, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole brake system sort of collapsed.
Yeah, I mean, completely lost it. I mean.
Yeah, completely. And I always thought that these. So if you don't take the chicane and you go straight, I always thought those blocks were out of like concrete or something. So when I saw him like just not turn, I was like, oh. But yeah, no, they pulled
that would be a very interesting move from the FIA to just we're going to make tracks extra safe, but we're going to put some brick walls in the middle of a chicane.
Yeah, so they're like really trying to do this. Hey, in Monaco, you race next to walls all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't race against brick walls, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
But I think it's very scary. It's very scary. I mean, it happens not quite often actually. It's like has happened quite a lot to them. Like no brakes at the end of the straight, and like if you get to the end of the straight at Monza, you're like more than 300 kph and you just press the brake pedal. There's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, that's scary.
A bit of poo must come out, at some point. It's like and then he had nothing. He was just like going super slowly to the pits.
Yeah. a bit of poo must come out. I'm sure it has. He did actually make it back into the pit, so
yeah,
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he just about, which was kind of interesting because he had to drive so slowly again because he couldn't stop, and he was saying that he really I think it's safer for him because if he can't really get out the car because he can't stop it or whatever, so the car will just roll wherever he is unless he puts it in the gravel. So that was bad for Ferrari. And then lap 19, I've written down Magnussen.
Yeah.
So Haas had a failure with their car. I think it was an engine failure.
It was an engine failure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't get why he stopped just before the pit.
I don't know. I thought did he not lose drive completely, or did he?
Maybe that's the only thing I can imagine. Otherwise, he could have just coasted or like let the car roll like 15
Yeah, because he really wasn't very far from the pits. It was kind of hard to see because at first.
Thank you to him. I mean, that was the drive of the day. He made the race happen. Thank you, Kevin Magnussen. Thanks to him, the race was exciting.
I should have voted for driver of the day for him. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to be fair, like even if it didn't happen, like McLaren was 1-2, so that's pretty good. To be fair, like for a normal race Grand Prix with nothing crazy happening, just. To like merit, like they got 1-2, like 2 and 3, like
2 and 3,
like pure driving. It was like pace wise.
Yeah,
they didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like sort of for McLaren, they almost got robbed a little bit. I mean, they still had P2 in the end, but
kind of, yeah, for sure. If it was a straightforward race, then Lewis probably first and McLaren probably second, third, and I mean third. Norris was a bit on the threat by Perez, but who knows? He could have maybe hold it.
Yeah, like Paris with Racing Point. Yeah, but luckily he did pull over where he pulled over.
Yes.
Which meant safety car. And usually with a safety car, if you want to, a safety car is sort of a cheap way or a quicker way to get sort of your pit stop because you don't lose as much time. And Hamilton thought, yeah, great. I'll just go to the pits. This team actually told him on the radio, as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
We're gonna pit now. Yeah. And then what happened?
And then also Giovinazzi came in. Like casually, like, oh, I'm just gonna change my tires. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, Sainz come in too, please, Norris come in too. And then they didn't come in. I was like, what is happening? Why is no one coming in? And then the commentator was like, oh, the pit lane is closed. And I was like, ooh, that is interesting. Did Mercedes messed up real bad? And then apparently they did. And the safety car stayed there for a few laps. Nothing really was updated. No one knew what penalty, like it was investigated in the investigation, but was no official news from the stewards. And then the race started again. And I think it was, they pitted. I think McLaren pitted after, right? Just after.
I think you had a couple. So what happened
the safety car, I think the second or third lap they pitted.
So you had a couple of laps actually where the pit lane was closed. And then they opened it again, and a couple of cars actually, I think Sainz and Norris got their pit stop in because it just
Norris
makes sense.
slowing down, like a chicken boy, just like, ooh.
Did he get a penalty for that? Because he apparently slowed down
under investigation, but he didn't.
Okay, because he apparently slowed down so much, or sort of like compromised other cars, just because he needed to, allow his team to like make sure they can do the double stack with him and Sainz. But that was fine.
That was fine.
But a couple of cars didn't pit, I think. And I think as far as, if I've written this down correctly, because there was a lot of stuff going on, I think Gasly and Stroll both didn't pit.
I think Gasly had pitted before.
He had pitted just before then. Right.
Before the safety car, he had pitted. And the safety car came in, Lewis pitted, and then Stroll didn't pit at all. Stroll was one of the only ones that didn't pit, actually.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't quite sure about that. But yeah, actually, like for Gasly, that would have been really bad on any other circumstances. But yeah, they basically had like a couple more laps after the race sort of kicked off again, and Hamilton was leading the pack away.
Yeah.
Until Leclerc made a huge mistake, or maybe a small mistake, but a huge sort of crash
a huge
for him.
crash. Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
it was very scary.
He hits the barrier, and oh my god, that looked insane.
Oh yeah, I was like
not in a good way.
Shocked.
Insane.
Like I was super scared. I was like, like it was hard. Like you could see, like the car was deep in the tires, and it was not looking good.
Yeah, and like that, like it's kind of weird because you sometimes see it in slow motion and you can't tell, but if they show it to you in like real speed, the impact is just like almost like he doesn't stop at all. He just drives straight into the wall.
It doesn't slow the car down. Even the gravel doesn't. Yeah. It just glides on the gravel and hits the barrier like.
That's crazy. Luckily, it was all okay, and he sort of even ran away.
He was a bit shaken. I think even on the radio, it was like he was kind of he made a few sounds that he was a bit shaken and hurting. But he, I guess, like just to reassure himself, maybe just started running just to see if everything was working right.
Yeah.
Weirdly, like I think that normally like the medical car comes by. If the G-force is high enough, and because they
I didn't hear anything about that, like any mention for that.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that, so that was weird. But
yeah, so now maybe it looked worse than it actually was. I don't know in terms of G-force.
Because last week with Russell and Giovinazzi, the medical car came out.
Yeah, that was also like a really hard hit.
But yeah, it was fine at the end. It was okay.
Yeah.
So
luckily he was okay, and it sort of didn't, he, as far as I'm aware, isn't hurt or hasn't got any broken bones.
But again, he made the thing really interesting too, because he destroyed the barrier so bad that they had to build it back. I mean, it took like I think half an hour or something, or 20 minutes to build it back. So red flag, everyone came back in the pits, and then free pit stop for anyone who didn't stop. So that's a kind of a interesting rule. I don't know.
That was an interest. That I
How
thought
do
it
you
was
feel about the
interesting.
rule? How do you feel about the rule of like a free pit
It's
stop?
it's not only the like free pit stop. It's like you can change tire compounds. So you can if like let's say you had a puncture, that would, I guess it would kind of make sense. But you can also repair bits on people's cars,
Yeah.
and I think they changed some stuff on Hamilton's car, and I think on Bottas' car, and like other cars sort of tried. As long
How
as
do you
it's
feel?
not a new part that you're installing, as long as it's sort of just replacing something.
What do you think about
I
that? How do you
Don't
feel?
know. I think it's I don't know. I think it's kind of weird. I think it's because really what you'd want is sort of to stop the race and then just start it again, right? Like instead of, but now you're sort of starting from fresh. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a bonus start. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
second. Yeah, and especially
so it's-
because for the first time ever, I mean, that's a bit skipping ahead, but we had like a standing start, which never happened. I was really confused. I was like,
Yeah.
am I
that
crazy?
was-
Like, why are they?
Yeah, and but it was weird as well as like it's sort of people didn't know, and there's a team radio I think of Hamilton. Oh, that's the other thing. So on your outlap, I think you're not allowed to get your team isn't allowed can't tell you anything as far as I'm aware. Like they can't tell you, you got to change engine modes and things like that. And that's sort of the same again if you had a red flag and then a standing start. So as soon as they leave the pit exit,
Okay,
from the moment that they leave the pit exit to them starting the race again, you can't talk. You can say something as the race driver, but the engineers can't talk to you. So they were like, Hamilton, you got to look out for the boards. It's either standing start, which is SS as far as I'm aware, or rolling start, which would be an RS. And they couldn't tell them, and they didn't know. So that was
okay,
quite
I didn't know
interesting.
that. That was okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah. And
interesting.
there's other team radios as well where they're like, yep, now you do this, now you do that. Okay, we've got 20 seconds, and then you can just hear them counting down, and then they just stop talking to him because they just
Okay,
aren't
I
allowed.
didn't hear that
talk
at
to him.
all. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's quite interesting. Maybe I can link a couple in the thing below.
But I mean, before
Not that-
before that, we had the announcement of the penalty for Lewis, which was the
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say now that it made a huge difference to Hamilton because, yeah, what did they announce? Go ahead.
I mean, it was a 10-second stop and go, which doesn't happen a lot. But I mean, I think anything less would have been so unfair because it's like like a
Oh, yeah.
5 second would have been. I mean, he would fly away if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So
And the thing with stop and go as well is I don't even know if there's always been the case, but in this time or like whatever, this version of the rules that we have in 2020, you have to take it within 2 laps of you receiving it.
Yeah.
So
I think it
you
was
know,
3
you-
laps before or something. I mean, it was
or,
all,
yeah, or something like that. But that means because technically 10 seconds is something that Hamilton could probably pull out over the course of a race and then just pit for 10 seconds and then go again, and he'd probably be fine. But he had to serve it within 2 or 3
Yeah.
laps.
yeah, and they took it
Um,
right away. So yeah.
Yeah.
But it was insane. I mean, a lot of people were like, it's Lewis. He's gonna get out of it somehow.
Yeah,
and
because
announced
he
a few
tried
minutes-
as well.
Oh yeah. He was not happy about it. He was like, oh, I
No.
couldn't see it, and
Yeah, yeah.
he took his
But not
scooter
only-
around, and it was-
Yeah, I was gonna say he went to the stewards, he went to their room, and I was like, it's like, where's he going? Like, surely, I don't know. Like for me, watching it, I was kind of getting nervous because like you don't really. I think you get a 10-minute warning when the session's gonna start, but if you like, it could be quite a distance, and you just sort of scooting off and like scooting all the way along. It's like, oh,
I thought he was going to the bathroom. I didn't know. So I was like, oh.
yeah, no. And other people just sort of. I think Bottas just stayed in his car. You just see Bottas.
Yeah,
just
Bottas
sitting
stayed in
there.
the car. It was insane. Like
Yeah.
the image comparison, like it was Lewis like
I
scootering around, and then Bottas like, I'm ready to go. I'm
Yeah,
just
ready to
waiting
go.
here."
This is fine. Amazing. Also, like, really, like, interesting because Hamilton sort of really, yeah, like you said, really protested sort of the penalty and everything, and he couldn't see it. And as I think, from his point of view, I don't think he did anything wrong. What do you think?
I mean, it would be super hard to see the signs on the outside of Parabolica. I mean, it's such
Right,
there's
yeah.
5Gs on the corner. You don't look on the outside, so you
Yeah.
look at the exit, so you don't really see it. I think the team is at fault here, and it actually took someone from Brackley to call the team at the track and say, guys, you messed up. It was on the FIA like screen, like pit lane is closed. And that's why
Yeah.
they realized they made a mistake, and it's definitely on the team. It's not on Lewis.
Yeah, I think so. And it's really, really unfortunate for him because it absolutely cost him the race win, like
Oh, yeah, for
100%.
sure. Oh yeah, that was for sure. Yeah.
and yeah, just to, I totally agree with you. Like that corner at a little bit of speed, and then also like you are sort of expecting the signs to say something because it's safety car, so they would say, I think yellow SC, I think it's
Yeah,
safety
there's
car,
yellow. Yeah, there's SC. So
yeah. But those two actually were red crosses, which means pit
Yeah.
lane entry is closed, which happens like never.
Almost never. Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've seen it. During a race.
And often if it's closed, it's because there is actually something in the middle of the pit lane. So you would actually see it as a driver too, and you would. Not come in.
So you could turn in and you see it, but it was clear, it was empty. I mean, Magnussen was just off to the right, pushing his car back.
I mean, it was fair. It was fair. I think that the team messed up, and that's it. They shouldn't have messed up. I mean,
Exactly.
it was announced. They should have known it, and especially Mercedes. I mean, they don't make these kind of mistakes, and
No,
but sometimes they do.
sure.
Like Germany last year was the same kind of thing. They mistakes
sometimes
happens,
they have those sort of moments where they make mistakes, but it's super rare. And really,
it
like
happens.
at the end of the day,
it happens. You can't.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
alright.
which is nice to see, and it gave us the great race. So shall we go on from
Yes, the second race of the day.
the second race, which I thought, like you were saying, it's weird that that's the rule, but I thought it was great. Having another standing start is
it was
great.
amazing. I want this every time now. Every time there's red flag, I want a standing start for sure.
Yeah, just I don't know. Maybe we just have 2 races. I don't know. That's not really like. Maybe we could add that to the long list.
At the end of the podcast, we'll talk more about like what we learned about
fine,
what happened.
Yeah. So we had a restart. Hamilton got away great again, as far as I'm aware.
I think when Stroll had a very bad start.
Yeah,
and he said like, I think his tire were cold and he had no grip, which basically I think lost him the race.
Yeah.
Or close to that, maybe like a second place. But I don't know if he had the pace, like pure pace to go and win. But I mean, it still messed up the result for him. He probably could have ended up higher.
Absolutely. Because he was P2, right? Like.
But he wasn't. The thing is, he wasn't gaining on anyone at the end. So he was like, could he have really like stayed where in first if he was, if he held up behind Lewis? I'm not sure. But anyway,
I'm not sure,
it didn't happen. So the great thing that happened is Gasly got a fantastic start, and passed Stroll and Kimi, which was was just behind Lewis. And we're like, Kimi could have a podium on an Alfa Romeo. That would be insane.
Oh my god! I think I've written it down. It was lap 29. It was Gasly, Raikkonen, and Giovinazzi was the first 3, and I was like, "What? That's amazing!"
That's
seeing Kimi Raikkonen like that far ahead. It's like, oh, please finish the race like this.
And for Italy, I mean, if Giovinazzi would be insane. Anyway,
it didn't quite happen for the guys.
I mean, they went on aggressive strategy. They put like softs, I think, on Kimi or something, and it was just completely wrong. I think he was gaining on Gasly for just a lap or two, and then he just fell completely and ended up 13th. Like the worst strategy call ever.
It was so sad to see him like slowly going backwards, like everyone like slowly just overtaking him lap for lap, which again gave us some really cool overtakes. I think.
I mean, it was good because like Gasly could pull away too. It helped Gasly a lot.
Yeah, that's true. For Gasly again, that was really good. I think Sainz made like. Got on the I think his engineer was like, "Oh, don't worry about him. Like you'll take him." And he was like, "I want the race win." Like,
he was like, one at a time, just like take it slow. Don't make me like make it like super clean. Make it super clean. And he was like, "No, I want Gasly.
I want this win." And yeah, for Sainz, it was just he was one of the people that sort of ended like really high, but lost out as well because of pitted.
McLaren definitely lost out. I think they could have same situation. But just a bit before, so like Lewis still pits, and then they are 1-2, and then Lewis had to take the penalty. There would be 1 and 2. It would be a 1-2 for McLaren for sure.
Yeah, they could have finished 1 and 2, but they also obviously didn't know the red flag was coming at that point. So
yeah. I mean, it was just a crazy race anyway. So I mean, who would have thought? I mean, he still had a super strong race. I mean, after that, Verstappen had a DNF just after. I mean, Red Bull 31. At this point was like, I don't know, 13th and last. Or something, which was insane.
It was weird. Like Albon.
No one talked about Red Bull. Like I didn't hear the Red Bull name once in the whole Grand Prix.
Yeah.
The only time I heard it was when Verstappen DNF'd. That's it.
Yeah.
Like Albon was a ghost. I didn't even see Albon at all. And Verstappen, the only time I saw him was when he went and retired. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, totally.
And then we had
Verstappen was not happy at all. He was like, did you hear like his? Oh, he was so angry with like I think it was the engine. I think that blew up or something. He was just so pissed off with it. Yeah, and Albon really didn't go anywhere at the end. Like he.
I mean, the whole
I think
race was
he
bad. He had
15th.
just another bad weekend, which is not good for him. I mean,
No.
when it's
No,
not
exactly.
luck, is I don't know. It's just always something happening for him. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
not good.
But yeah, what a crazy race at the end. I mean,
The last 10
Seven.
laps was the most insane 10 laps. I don't know. My heart was beating so hard. I mean, like,
it was just great racing. That's what it was. It was like
yes,
you had cars that were out of position that needed to be overtaken on a track that is, depending on what car you're in, sort of not that good to overtake on.
yeah.
Um,
And there was like I think there was like 13 laps or 14 laps to go, and Sainz just passed Kimi, and it was like 4.5 seconds to Gasly.
yeah.
And Lewis was last, and then it was just. I mean, everyone like Mercedes was pretty keen to finish sixth, which was almost what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he still was performing. He was struggling, but he was still passing more people than Bottas was, which is so interesting.
Yeah, that sort of was the big sort of indicator. I mean, maybe Hamilton was happier with his car, but like really, that shows you the difference in the two drivers, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe a few more laps and he could have passed Bottas, which would have been insane.
That would have been the biggest slap in the face to Bottas. I mean, I think it's just. But I think Hamilton really, really wanted it again. Like you could see, he was determined and like really put the hammer down, as they say, and without party modes this time around as well. Which something we didn't even talk about is that they couldn't give him more of the engine because there's only one engine setting, one max engine setting, and that's it.
Yeah, and then I think it just shows that this weekend really showed like, I don't think Bottas will fight for the championship this year, and I'm not sure if he will ever. Like, to be fair, just the way that he's driving just doesn't show a guy that wants it that bad, like a Rosberg. Like some people are saying, like bring back Rosberg because like he was giving us some entertainment,
like a proper fight and not just a sort of a sad number two. I don't know. It's weird because Bottas is still like a super fast, really good racing driver in a really fast car, but he's just not quite got the edge that he needs to. Challenge Hamilton, and that's what sort of.
And again, like I think he has a really good lap on qualifying, and Hamilton just beats him. Like even if he gets something extra, Hamilton gets the extra. It's like he cannot beat him.
No,
and then
it's crazy. Yeah,
just loses 4 places on the first lap, and it's just like oh my god, this just doesn't.
And he's not. Yeah, his race starts haven't been great.
And even the fighting, the battling is not great. Norris passed him so easily, and then same thing for Perez, and same thing for Ricciardo. I mean, just not good.
And then he had to, had to look after the car and like.
And panicking. But like, kind of panicking, really. Like, the way that he was speaking was like, he was so confused that he was like blaming the car, and like, he was just, I think, completely panicked in the car, like didn't know what was happening, which is not a good sign.
No, exactly. Because I guess he's so used to being like, P2. And then as soon as Hamilton pulls away, he's got enough clean air to drive normally because there's nobody right in front of him. And then when you lap people, then that's they get out of your way anyway. So that's really interesting to see that he's not with this car not a very good sort of racer, like really wheel to wheel sort of racer. Yeah.
But then the last 10 laps, man. Like if we come back to the top 3, it was just like Sainz was gaining. Just a bit, like every lap. And I think got to the last, 6-7 laps, and it was 1.5 seconds. And Gasly did a insane job because the tire was almost gone. And he was like keeping him at 1.5. I think he was getting down to 1.2 at the last chicane, and then before the parabolica, he put him back to 1.5 every lap for like 5 laps. And then just got down to to the DRS on the last lap. Yeah. Just perfect, like so much pressure.
So much pressure. Yeah.
Everything that's happening to him in the last 18 months, everything, and just so much pressure. Like he could win the race behind Sainz, like charging on him, like probably one of the top 2 car of the weekend. And track.
Absolutely.
And he was like he drove perfect, not one mistake. the whole laps he was driving in front, and then just like keeping him at bay like every lap, and then at the end
Yeah.
just like allowed him to, I guess, to come a bit closer, and had also normal tires, but it
Yeah.
still finished in front of him. Like I think 3/4. But I mean, hey, that's all you need, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And for Sainz, Sainz on the radio, I don't think he was happy for Pete that he had second place, because I think 1 or 2 laps he felt he could have maybe gotten Gasly.
I think it's very mixed feelings. You know, what I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I think it's
Absolutely,
he was definitely not happy, and he was like, I need one more lap. And I think it's like
Yeah.
at the same time, any other day behind Hamilton, he would be happy with the P2.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, yeah, if he was behind Hamilton and no chance of catching Hamilton, P2 would have been the best day ever. But yeah, because he was so close. But I'm so happy that Gasly won. Like you said, like he had some rough times over the last 18 months. He got sort of kicked out of the main team back to the second sort of Red Bull team. I think even his house got broken into.
Yeah, like we got burgled like 3 weeks ago or something.
Yeah,
So-
like something like that. And obviously he lost a really good friend in the accident we talked about last week. Yeah, it's just, and I think everyone across the board, everyone was happy for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know
as-
if I don't know
yeah.
if one person is not happy. I mean, what's wrong with you? I mean, it's
Exactly. Like even like you could see Hamilton shaking sort of his hand and giving him a hug. And I think
everyone
it
was
was
so
an interview-
happy. Yeah, it was everyone was
Yeah.
insanely happy. And then
think it
when
was
he came in
Hamilton's-
the media like pits like little thing, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
was
I just gonna
clapping.
say that. Yeah. And then you don't get that for Hamilton because he's sort of used to winning. It's like,
It's like, oh, him again.
great, great to see. And I think it was I think it was Hamilton's interview that I saw, and it was in the middle of that, and he gets interrupted, and he just turns around, and it's like such a good moment. And there's some great pictures where he's sort of Gasly's alone on the what's it called, the on the podium.
Yeah,
Everyone
that
sort
was
of left
amazing.
and-
There's amazing shots
Yeah.
with the confettis, and there's amazing pictures.
And he
Amazing
used to say
pictures.
he doesn't know when the next semester is going to happen and how often it happens, and just wanted to enjoy it. And I was like, that's
The
so
only,
cool.
I mean, I would have loved for him to have all the fans. It would have been,
Yeah,
oh my god, it would have been like 1,000 times better. But I mean, it's already like such a high. Like it would have been just
know,
this
yeah.
tiny little bit more. But
and I think that podium as well.
it's a special one.
it's-
It's like
it's one of
Silverstone.
the-
It's a special.
It's one of the best podiums, just from its location for
Yeah.
on the circuit.
even
It's just
Silverstone. There's a
like-
lot of people, but the location is not
Yeah.
as good. That's when it's perfect.
and if you drive for anything, an Italian team or anything like that, they the Italian fans go crazy.
Even
so
more,
it would
it's
have
an
been-
Italian team. The Italian anthem was playing. I mean,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
magical would that have been?
Yeah. And there's some pictures of like comparisons, which is so sad, from last year when Charles won, and it's like a sea of red and like the huge Ferrari flag and everything's like fireworks already going off. Definitely like not supposed to this year when it's like, but it's still like I think for him and
yeah.
personally I think
It's such a
it
high
would have still
already.
been.
It's
Yeah.
already
Such a
amazing.
great
I
win.
mean,
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, how good? I mean, it's like, he was like, who would have thought like that Gasly would have get his first win before Albon?
That's true. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Especially like last year when
Last
Gasly
year
got
Brazil,
relegated.
last year Brazil, Albon gets spin, Gasly gets his first podium P2, and then this year Albon gets spun in Austria, doesn't make it. Maybe could have won. And then now, Albon finishes almost last or like before last, and he wins the race.
Crazy. Yeah. What
That's
do you think to the whole like I don't know, not rumors, but like the idea that now Gasly's got to win? Should he replace Albon again at?
I've seen two things. I've seen like the this kind of rumors and like this kind of it's fair, sure, but I also have seen like people saying he should leave the program, like the Red Bull driver program, and I'm also kind of into that. I'm more into the. I mean, if I had to choose, I would prefer Gasly in a Mercedes than Gasly in a Red Bull.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's an idea that I didn't even have.
Just
or
because
didn't even think about.
the Red Bull system doesn't seem that healthy. I mean, especially for him with what he,
Yeah.
he already ran through it.
Yeah.
And you're like, is it gonna happen again? Maybe starting with a fresh like upgrade to like a good team, but something different.
Does Bottas have a contract for next year?
Yeah, he has. It's been signed. Yeah.
Ah, it's a shame.
It's a
Hamilton
shame,
doesn't
for
have a
sure.
contract.
What I would say is like maybe like Gasly stay there for one more year, like stay at AlphaTauri for one more year, perform as well, like perform super strongly like that, and then like be in talks with get close and get your agent to be close to Mercedes and to Toto and
Yeah.
because I mean that would be insane.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, obviously, then that's 2022 when everything changes. But I think again, like being at one of the bigger teams, even if the budgets are the same, still.
And again, like who knows if Red Bull is really a two-car team? Is it just a one-car team? Like it's just a team for Max Verstappen, and anyone that's going to come in the car next to him is going to struggle.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that as well. But people do compare it to Vettel's win. I think was also at Monza. And then, sort of what he then did with Red Bull, people are sort of like...
That's what they were saying.
Maybe Gasly would, but like... I like your idea way
he was saying like, maybe Helmut Marko is going to be like, I remember how it happened, He won at Monza and then, bim, we had a four times, 4 World Championships.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, it's kind of... Is it similar? I'm not sure, but it's like... There's a huge change coming in regulations. Yeah. Which was sort of what Red Bull used last time, I think.
But I think I would still prefer to see him somewhere else in Red Bull. Just because he already tried it and it didn't work at all. Like it was just a miserable moment for him. Like he was badly. He was badly treated. I mean, if we remember correctly, I mean it wasn't a good experience at all. Like even from sure the results were not good, but then the way he was, thrown out halfway through the season and just.
Yeah, that was
like
weird to
just
see.
After he lost his best friend, he was also fired from Red Bull. It was just a whole mess.
Oh, I didn't even have that timeline in my head anymore. But yeah, like it must have been fairly close after.
Yeah, it was. That's
crazy.
Disaster summer last year. So I think is it that good to come back to Red Bull? I'm not that sure, And if it if he goes back and he's strong and still gets beaten up by Max Verstappen, how good is that for his career? I don't think it's good at all. Because what happens after? Like just. I don't think he goes back to AlphaTauri. I think he's just straight fired from everything.
Yeah,
like I don't see them dropping him again.
Yeah. Because that would be horrendous, and I don't think he's. Yeah, I like your idea or that sort of strategy way more. Like the idea of go somewhere else, go try something else with a different.
And look at how Hamilton was nice to him and saying good things about him. He was so nice to Gasly. He was like saying such good and like criticizing Red Bull very evilly too. So maybe Gasly, like Hamilton, is like, I like this guy. Could be a good teammate,
Yeah. Maybe even more. I don't. Definitely a different spirit to what Bottas is doing right now. So.
Oh yeah, you can see the difference just in his way. Just
crazy.
In the way he's driving. It's just a completely different personality. I think that would be interesting.
I think we just have to wait and see with this one. I'm super happy for Gasly. I hope we're gonna see a couple more races like this. Some crazy stuff. Oh, it was just so good, and it didn't even have rain.
No one talked about rain. That's how good the race was.
Yeah, exactly.
No one wanted rain.
Nobody talked about the weather. It's like when the race is boring when they're like, oh, we're 50% of rain. It's like, did we actually? The sun's shining. You sure? But yeah. Is there anything else?
I think there was a few radio there was the radio message from Gasly when he won, which was amazing. Also the French TV coverage was really good. Really powerful.
I didn't watch the French TV coverage on that one.
There's on the F1 page shared it, so you can watch it.
Oh, is it? Okay. I need to have a look at that.
And then Ocon was at the end of the race. The team was like, "Oh, really good drive, for P8 from P12. It's a good drive, good job." And he was like, "Oh no, I don't agree. I think we completely missed on a big opportunity. I think we messed up real bad." And the team was like, "Okay, we'll talk back in the office." And he was like, "Yeah, but we have to face our things." And he was like, "No, it's not the place, Ocon. Just shut up.
Be quiet."
And then he was like, "Copy."
Yeah. Oh, that was amazing. How it kind of gets me anyway. But like for us and personally as well, it's like so much fun to listen to the radio because it's like. And like to the radio afterwards as well, because you don't, the TV coverage, can't get all the radio. So there's so many, more juicy bits in there. But yeah, it's kind of surprising to me that teams let their racing drivers sort of speak so freely sometimes.
I think I would be like, he was just speaking. I don't know that's wrong. It's like just saying stuff, which was not complete. He was not insulting the team. He was just saying like, we messed up. It was all right.
No, yeah,
But
but that's true.
also they didn't. I think they missed on some points. I don't think they missed on a lot of points because he still got beaten in qualifying by the two AlphaTauris. Ocon, like
I think
on
it's
pace,
more.
purely on pace.
Yeah,
He got
and I think
beaten
it's
by
more
the
Ocon's
two.
performance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh
sorry, I
yeah, for
was
sure.
saying it's more Ocon's performance than Renault as the team, in my opinion. That's sort of because Ricardo had a pretty solid qualifying.
7, still not as nothing close
Nothing
to
close
last
to
to
what,
last week. Yeah,
yeah, what
but
we expected, obviously, from the race before, but way better than
still
Ocon.
still way better
12.
for sure.
Yeah, so
So yeah, he was complaining, but I think wasn't allowed to complain that much because he got beat on straight pace by the two AlphaTauris, the two Racing Points, the two McLarens.
yeah,
So yeah, by a lot of people. So it was like I don't think
yeah.
he missed on that much. I think
No,
8
yeah,
was
I
already
totally
8 was
agree.
decent for him.
Yeah,
But yeah, after there was why it looked like I don't know. Oh yeah, Leclerc was because of the crash that he was complaining a
yeah,
bit. And Grosjean was like super happy at the end of the race because Gasly won. And also Williams at the end of the race was very emotional little messages for Frank and Claire Williams that are leaving the
I was
sport, which is
nice
insane
to
news
hear.
also that we have to mention because it's just insane news for Formula One. I mean, still they did amazing for the sport. I think both of them. I think the Frank
Yeah,
was like he created the team and amazing history for Williams, and I think Claire she did her best to make the team as good as she could. Didn't end up being the success, we all hope for. I think Williams deserves to be on the top, and didn't happen sadly. I was hoping for her to stay in the team though. I was thinking maybe she could step down from being like the team principal because maybe
like an
again like
advisor or like
not
somebody.
being mean on anything, but I mean it's not because you're like Frank Williams' daughter that you're the best team principal for the team, but maybe
Yeah,
an advisor, something in there, like to keep the family in the team, or and maybe because she's also good in what she does, maybe not as a team principal, but maybe as consult, like something in the team that
yeah.
um,
I think from the interviews, and it's interviews are always one of those things that sort of like, they sort of sometimes make things sound a little different to what they actually are. We'll never actually know. But she said that she stepped down herself because now that the team isn't owned by them anymore, it's owned by someone else. She doesn't feel like she can give it the same energy, and maybe not even the same energy as somebody else could, right? She's been doing it for the last couple of years, and it's sort of what's not worked out. They've not been very competitive, unfortunately,
I
and
mean,
they have been. Actually, I've had a little look at just how much like how many races they've entered, and they're like the top 3 teams of like races entered. So they've been with the sport for since the 70s.
yeah.
And that's huge. And for a team that's sort of been independently owned by just a family, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, and then I
so
think it's just a
huge
shame
element,
because
yeah.
this year they actually did something that worked, and they are doing better.
Yeah, they're definitely doing better. Yeah, and I think moving forwards, they would have been finally sort of with the
Yeah.
budget restraints and all that kind of stuff. Maybe in a bit more of a competitive situation, but it's just
I get that
yeah,
she's maybe it's not the best situation for her to stay in the team, and she feels that maybe she won't be as invested. But I think it maybe could have made the little difference for her, the regulations,
yeah,
and also not the money worries. Not that like I have to go and negotiate 5 different sponsors deals in between races because we don't have any much money.
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's a shame, but wish them well, and hopefully we'll see them around racing or something.
I hope that the name continues because it has such a big legacy. And yeah, like hopefully we'll get to see them too as well. It was very interesting because she was waving out cars. There's like a term for it. I forgot what it's called. Out of the pit lane, telling her drivers, that it's safe to go, which is kind of cool to see. Some things she usually doesn't do.
I would have loved
I
to
was
see her
like-
finish the season, though. I think it was very weird to not finish the season too. I thought
Yeah,
she was.
it's
I
strange.
thought when the announcement was made that she was gonna finish the season and then
Yeah.
step down. I didn't think it was like immediate. Like I step down today. Like this weekend. That's the last one. That's it.
Yeah,
That was
it's
surprising.
kind of interesting. Yeah.
Was there someone announced for her replacement or?
No, not as far as I'm aware. No,
Okay,
I don't really know
That's
who
interesting.
that goes to, but I think next weekend would have to have someone else, obviously. So
Yeah, for sure. So they have a week
I
to
don't know.
figure it out. I think. Yeah.
which definitely doesn't make things easier at Williams. Like if you know, we saw it at Ferrari when the leadership was changing. That didn't help.
That didn't help for
So,
sure. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
yeah. I mean, you have to see that. You know, they did like the first page of the sports journal in France is Gasly.
I was gonna say I want
They
to
did,
show
they
it
did like
again.
they did a full like page on him. There is like him again here. There is
Oh,
like
amazing! That is
his
so
whole
cool to see.
story here, and there is like
Oh,
his
what?
whole life like in another page. They did like 6 pages on him, so it's amazing.
That's amazing. So is that just a sports newspaper or is that a general?
Yeah, it's like this one is 100%
Sport.
sport. There is only sports in this
Okay.
one, but he was on other ones too.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah, but that's really cool to see.
He was
also
invited
good
in
for-
the midday news, and then
Yeah.
I think he's invited in a sports program right now. And he missed. Had a missed phone call from the French president yesterday evening.
Amazing.
Just amazing.
That's so cool. It's also it's nice to see. I mean, I'm not French, but it's still like I can sort of empathize that sort of excitement for that, and it's good for the sport as well to have somebody else win a race.
It was so exciting.
Really
I think like the very young top 3, and I think like something that we have to mention is like maybe just our opinions on like and the commentators were saying like Crofty and were saying like maybe a qualifying race would be the best thing for Formula One. Like to be fair, like look at how good that was. Like a qualifying race and then a reverse grid for Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, how good would that be? How exciting would that mix? The mix up of things would be insane. And I mean, it gave us a super exciting race to have all this mix.
Yeah.
How good would it be
like
to have
crazy
different
exciting.
winners every week? Like, have different colors, different, that much excitement. And like everyone has a chance to, like, if you have a good car for the weekend, you have a chance. It's not like
Yeah.
if you're in the good team, you're going to win all year. No, it's like every weekend is going to be different. And every weekend you have a chance to win. That would be insane.
Yeah. I think those voices are getting stronger and stronger to change something somewhere. And I think we had, what was it last year? There was a weird, was it last year or the year before, where we had this really weird, I've forgotten what it was now, elimination qualifying thing. I can't
Oh
even
yeah,
remember.
they tried something. I think I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they tried something which it just didn't work, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
scrapped it. Because I think they thought it would make qualifying more interesting because cars would have to go up more often or something like that. But it just didn't. It was the exact opposite, where they're like, oh, I guess we can't improve. And then the qualifying ended way sooner. So yeah, that was not great. But yeah,
But
I'd like to see it. More
this
racing.
one was
better.
definitely like a proof of concept of how you could make things like, super exciting.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
oh my god, like
Definitely.
if we can get more races like that, then for sure. And
Oh,
last
yeah.
week we were saying maybe it's gonna be a boring race because Spa was boring, but if we get boring races like this every week, well, sign me up right now. That would be insane.
Yeah, it was. That's what sort of Formula One is to me. That excitement and the
Yeah.
speed and the sort of just crazy maneuvers and like just a bit of confusion as well on the track, and like to see. It's kind of nice to see a team like Mercedes just struggle with not struggle, but making a mistake, which is just
And it gives a good image of the sports too. I think it's like you see that there's actually action and actually skills there. It's not like just a guy driving in front of everyone and then like the top three is there is no close
Yeah,
battles.
yeah.
There is nothing. No, it's actually just not cars lapping going around the lap and that's it for like an hour and a half. No, there's actually ways that they can battle super close and there is crash. There is the retirements. There is like a crazy amount of things that end up giving us insane races.
So in the hopes that will continue for next weekend, shall we do our predictions?
Oh yeah,
for
let's do the predictions.
Mugello.
Mugello,
For best-
sì.
Best Italian impression. there.
Pronto, Mugello, bellissimo.
Oh, very nice.
Sì,
Very nice. I'm looking forward to the German tracks where I can just get my German out again. So that would be all good. Yeah, what do you think? Are you looking forward to Mugello? Have you seen the track? Because it's not one of the ones that is usually on.
I haven't seen it. I have seen the footage of like a Ferrari going around it, but I've never seen anything more than that.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
But yeah, I think let's go. I'm super excited to see a track that has never been raced at. Like, I haven't seen
me
any
too,
F1 race before, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be
And
a
it's
fresh. I love that. It's actually so exciting. Like let's do that every year. Like different track like this. It brings something like even the viewership. I think it's like if you're a viewer and you're like, shall I watch it? Shall I not? And it's like, Sure, because it's not going to be like last year because it didn't happen last year or
It didn't
the year
happen
before.
last year, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
So no one knows who is going to be. I think Mercedes, sure, blah blah. It's Mercedes until the
Mercedes
race.
1 and 2, yeah.
No, in the race now we can't say that because who knows how the race happens. But until the race, I
Exactly.
bet they're going to be in front at least. But I think now that we have seen how how Monza is, who knows from like third onwards, who knows?
Exactly.
McLaren,
No.
Renault, Racing Point, Red Bull, who knows? Like AlphaTauri, who knows? It's so exciting. So can't wait really.
No, yeah, I mean either. What are your predictions for the qualifying next week? Let's go with that, and then we'll go.
I mean, qualifying should be pretty straightforward. I would say Hamilton, Bottas, just because
Okay.
They should dominate qualifying. I think still Hamilton again has the little edge, especially because again we know that when he has a bad weekend, he comes back even stronger. So it's not good news at all for Bottas.
No.
Even if
He's
he
gonna
gained,
come back fighting.
he gained back a few points on Lewis this week, but nothing really important. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then okay, so that's Hamilton, Bottas, and then on third. I mean, Renault was nowhere, but I still think McLaren has figured out this car so good. You know what? I would say Sainz, but Sainz had his moment. I'll say Norris. He's gonna nail a lap and put his car on
okay.
third.
Nice. Okay. I don't know. I think Hamilton. Yeah, I think you're right. Like we'll have it. The Mercedes is so strong, even without party mode. It just doesn't. They don't care. They just they're there. And maybe I'm gonna say Sainz and Perez for 2 and 3. Bottas is gonna have an off day. Sainz.
Well, very off day then.
Very off
maybe
day,
off
P4.
in the track and end up in the gravel somewhere because
You never know. There's a lot of corners, a lot of sort of high speed
that's true. Yeah.
turns. So yeah.
That'd be exciting. That would be very exciting.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those tracks. I don't think it has a lot of runoff. I don't know. I haven't seen the new version for 2020. I don't know if they changed anything, but I don't think it has a lot of runoff area. It's like grass or gravel, and that's it. So it's not like today, this weekend where there was a white line, and if you're over the white line, that doesn't exist, as far as I'm aware. So.
I mean, Charles was over the white line and ended up very fast, very soon in some tires. So but I mean,
that's true.
For Ferrari, let's say for Ferrari, what do you think of Ferrari at their anniversary Grand Prix? So I think Ferrari is gonna be, let's say Leclerc is gonna try to say his Ferrari's little, I don't know, little party, and he's gonna end up like I think 14th.
14th for Leclerc.
Yes.
Okay. And Vettel?
Okay, just because I kind of like Ferrari because they are bad, I'm gonna put 15th just because so they get out of Q1, just have a decent, decent qualifying for them.
It is the saddest thing to me. The 1000th anniversary Grand Prix for Ferrari as like a race entry, I think it is.
Yeah, if they get into Q2, it's a good weekend for them.
Q2, Jesus Christ! They won last year. This weekend last year they won.
Imagine they had last year car. Imagine it was last year.
Oh my God! Yeah,
such
last
a
year
party.
car with an
Imagine
improved arrow.
Leclerc winning at Monza, huge party, then going to Mugello, winning at Mugello. Oh my God, that would be like the.
That would have probably what they were hoping for, but yeah.
It would have killed Italy would have been on down. It would have been a day off the next day,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna go Leclerc 12th. Oops, wrong button.
That's very close to the top 10, man.
It's close. And Vettel 16th.
Ooh,
out in Q1 again. Ow, I know.
The German foreigner.
It's not even that. It's just they're just not good today.
Okay. But they're not good. But he's not that bad,
Yeah, that's true. What about the race? What are you thinking about the race?
Okay,
I mean, obviously,
race.
if it's crazy, nothing we can predict. But If it's not crazy, then we're probably
Okay,
gonna be spotted.
let's.
So.
I mean, just because Bottas is nowhere, let's say Hamilton wins, because if he doesn't get a penalty, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
Is Bottas can? I don't know if Bottas can. That's interesting though. I don't know. I don't care. It's like, let's do what I want to see. I want to see. You know what? Let's do a crazy race for McLaren, and let's put Norris and Sainz, like a 2 and 3,
That would be great. I'd love to see that.
and Gasly fourth, just so he gains a lot of points too. And
Gasly. Okay, I'll write that in. Yeah, I'm going to go with Hamilton first as well. Whoops, I'm going to put him in the right spot. And I'm going to say Perez second.
Oh, interesting.
And Sainz third. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you think Ferrari are gonna actually finish the race this time? See you. So in sync. I don't know. Like, what do you reckon?
Oh man, that's a tricky bet to do. Is Ferrari gonna finish the race? Are both cars gonna finish? That's also a good question.
That is true. That's true. There's a lot of corners. You got to watch out.
Okay. I would say, let's say one DNF, just because for who is gonna DNF though? Let's say
I love
Leclerc, Vettel.
I need to go up to see like how our Ferrari predictions have gone from like 5th to like 7th, 9th to DNF. It's amazing.
Okay, let's say Leclerc DNF for some reason.
Leclerc DNF. Oh, that'd be a shocker for him.
And then just because I want Vettel to end. That's just why. Just so Vettel can finish
above, in front of
15th.
15th. Okay.
Yes.
Ambitious for Vettel. So he basically qualifies 15th.
So you can say, I finished the race at Mugello. That's it. I love Charles. I love this guy, but it's just
he's amazing. He's an amazing driver.
He has time. He's the Ferrari baby guy, so he has time. I just want.
I totally agree. I think he's plenty of seasons to come if Ferrari stabilize and get
and DNF like a good DNF, like a engine something nice and easy. No crash, nothing. Just
I'm gonna say 13th for Leclerc, and then Vettel's gonna pull it out the back with 11th.
Whoa.
Yeah, just as other teams are gonna struggle.
Almost in the points though. That's insane.
Almost.
Are you mad?
Almost in the points.
Almost.
But not actually in the points. So who knows?
It's a Williams kind of result, like 11th.
Yeah. That's true. Oh man, that's so sad. I mean that's it for our podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else you'd like to share with us. Any face painting?
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's like we can finish on Gasly just being a national hero. That's it.
We'll play the national anthem at the end of this episode. And thanks for watching, everyone.
Can we play it?
Good to talk to you,
actually. I don't know if you can play it really. So.
I don't know. I think maybe if you get your keyboard out and like play us a little bit of tunes, then we can use that.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening. It was a very exciting race to talk about.
It was great. It was great to talk to you about it. And we'll see you guys next week for the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.